Ryan here with Senior Living Foresight, and I'm so excited about doing this interview today. I am talking to Jameson Becker, who is the
Life Enrichment Manager at John Knox Village of Florida.
Okay, and John Knox Village of Florida is a single site, standalone life plan community with about how many, talk to me about how many residents you serve?
So we have just under 1,000 residents that we serve. We have about 800 in the independent living side and 200 in our higher care.
Perfect. And so you're in charge of making sure that residents live wonderful, fulfilled life, and things were going on nicely until COVID-19 hit. So talk to me about before and after.
Sure. So beforehand, we really prided ourselves on leading with lifestyle. We had a robust schedule of programming ranging about 400 activities a month for our residents, and those would range from informative programming such as lifelong learning classes to Broadway caliber events, both on campus as well as off campus. We have multiple great community partners, Nova Southeastern University, a lot of local museums that we partner with that we have access to for our residents. And we just this year were recently recognized by International Council of Active Aging, receiving the Pinnacle and Beacon Award, 4th overall internationally for senior communities that lead with excellence in wellness and lifestyle. So we've really prided ourselves on that mantra of leading with lifestyle, and really find it important to have that caliber of programming to keep our residents engaged and social.
Cool. And so once COVID hit, and I assume most of those were group activities that had to stop.
Sure. So it kind of was one of those moments where we had to be really innovative, because what our whole goal is to keep people out of isolation and engaged. And all of a sudden it was keep people away from one another, but still engaged. And so we had to really put our heads together as to how we could achieve that best. And we did a variety of different things. So we are very fortunate to have a technology coordinator here on site that is a resource for our residents to learn and understand technology. So we put together a lot of how-to videos of how to FaceTime, WhatsApp, Zoom meetings, accessing YouTube, so that those that were not technologically savvy prior had really detailed instruction on how to be. And once we were able to get that education out to residents, we then were able to use platforms such as Zoom to do virtual birthday parties, a virtual book club, virtual TED Talks, as well as some virtual fitness videos. And then we also used our resident engagement platform, which is CareMerge, to develop a whole at-home enrichment section where we were able to upload on virtual museum tours and art classes and just entertainment from around different operas that were pre-recorded, and really at-home fitness videos there, cooking demonstrations, cooking classes, so that there was one source of information that for anybody, that they could come and find something that would appeal to them.
So if I were a resident there, how do I know what's available and how to access it?
Sure. So we have sent out information to all of our residents about what CareMerge is. We call it JKV Connect here for our residents, just so it's a little bit more familiar for them. We've been leading a lot of training up until this point as we've gotten that engagement portal up and running. We also have kiosks in every lobby of all the towers that we have that have the information there as well. So if they don't have their own computer, they can access it through a public kiosk in the lobbies as well.
What percentage of your residents, and particularly in independent, let's start in independent living, but what percentage of them have tablets or computers, smartphone, anyway, it's sort of relatively easy access to the programming?
I would say about 65 to 70% would have access to tablets, computers, smartphones, more so on the smartphone front, that they would have access to the resident engagement platform.
And so what's the feedback from residents about all this?
So they've just been so immensely grateful that they've been able to have the opportunity to stay engaged through these different outlets, and that we've been here to provide this level of still programming, just in a different way for them. So when we did our virtual birthday party, we had about 40 residents attend, and it was really neat because it was kind of the first time they were able to see one another, and really just to see just the joy that really brought to people. Was second best to being able to be with each other in person.
Okay, I got to ask, what's a virtual birthday party?
So we sent out a link, and we had both our life enrichment team as well as our fitness team get on this, and we started out with a lot of their favorite hits, and then we led them in a few different line dances of different things they could be doing in their own homes, and then we had a little bit of a social hour afterwards. That they were able to just talk and chat with one another. And then we were able to sing them happy birthday. And then those people whose birthdays it were prior to the birthday party, we had delivered them homemade cookies as a birthday gift that they were able to enjoy together.
So, so how are you doing meals?
So meals have been, we switched our meal service to be delivery. So residents can call and order their breakfast, lunch, or dinner for at-home delivery. With the new governor's orders just this past week, we've been able to open up our dining hall under strict regulations and social distancing to do 2 dinner services. Is where we're going to kind of start and then go from there to see how that progresses.
So what's that going to look like? Will people be able to, will each person have to sit at an individual table, or will people be able to sit at the same table, or?
People will be able to sit at the same long table with one another. All of our menus have gone to paper menus, so none of them are being reused. And the check-in is, they have to maintain social distancing, so we have that all sectioned off with stanchions as to where their waiting area would be. We've particularly done the 2 scheduled time frames so that we can monitor that more closely. And they are required to wear a mask until they get to their table.
And I assume your staff will all be wearing masks and gloves, or at least masks. So
yes, masks and gloves.
Okay. And then what about activities? Do you see a path forward to group gatherings?
So we do see a path forward. We've just been brainstorming that this week as we got those new orders coming in that allow us to meet with 10 or less in a group. So what we're going to be doing is opposed to what we used to do, which is have one entertainer or presenter or lecturer for a group of 100 or 150. We'll have a variety of entertainers and presenters in one day that we can just do multiple sessions with and be able to keep that group of 10 or less. And we're fortunate to have about 6 to 7 different party rooms and gathering areas on campus, so in different locations. So we do have the capability to do a lot of programming by building, which we weren't doing as much before because we wanted to get everybody together and out of their buildings. But it's nice to be able to have that option now.
Okay. So you were doing, even before this though, you were doing some outdoor activities, is that right?
We were doing a lot of outdoor activities and off-campus activities as well.
Okay.
And even during this, we've been able to continue to do some outdoor activities. We've been able to do music in the courtyards, which has been really well received for just residents as they're walking by and taking their daily walks. We've been doing some outdoor fitness classes of 10 or less over the past month. And we've also done, some pep rallies by buildings. So for those residents that can't get out of their homes, we've been going to their homes and going out front and having entertainment and music and fitness and dancing per building.
Yeah. And what impact has this had on staff? Is it turnover, overtime, call-offs, that kind of thing?
So we've been extremely fortunate that we've not had to do any sort of layoffs or anything, and really quite opposite. I think it's really increased staff morale. We've had, a gratitude for being able to come to work every day, a real passion and love for the people that we serve, which has been expressed back in their gratitude. Early on when this happened, we started an initiative called Thankful Thursdays, which 40 residents came out to our first one to really thank our healthcare workers, and in signs of showing posters and celebrating them as they were coming in and out of work and handing them gifts. And that was so well received that we ended up doing it for every department. And it was just a really kind of fun opportunity for all of us to get together and just celebrate one another.
So talk to me a little, I really like that idea. Talk to me a little bit about Mommy. You talked about 40 people coming out. How did that work in the context of social isolation and
Sure.
that
So
kind of
we
thing?
have 3 different healthcare buildings. And so we divided those people by buildings. So they had a particular post that they were to go to. We had masks and gloves for everybody at each area. And then we also had areas marked as far as like the 6-foot distancing to make sure that we weren't crowding. And so we were able to celebrate in a safe space, and really, again, the impact that it really just had, because people didn't expect it. You know, the people that were coming into work every day, they had no idea. So it was really fun to see that surprise and joy on their face.
That is really cool. Do you have pictures?
We do. We have a lot of
You could
pictures. A
send
lot
me,
of
that'd
pictures
be
and
awesome. That'd
yeah,
be
absolutely,
awesome.
and some video I'll send you.
Yeah. So one of the things that I spend a lot of time thinking about is we're gradually moving back to some kind of a level of normalcy. Probably for the next 6 months, it'll be a weird kind of normalcy. But I guess I ultimately envisioned that we'll mostly go back to not having to social distance and those kinds of things. Are there lessons you've learned out of this that you think will carry through to the new to when we get back to normal again?
Sure. I think that this has really been an eye opener for everybody, just in regards to regulations and safety and sanitation. So as far as those things, we've definitely learned some lessons. But I think what we've really, the biggest takeaway has been is just how important community is to each other and to our residents, and to continue to program based on knowing that importance of connectiveness with one another, and just to be able to do that front of mind, to have the most meaningful programming for our residents.
Do you have any sense at all that that it's actually increased connectedness between either groups of residents or between residents and family members? I mean, I know it's not physical connectedness, but it's electronic. Do you have any sense on that at all, one way or
I
the
think
other?
it has. You know, I know for my team in particular, and I know for our dining staff and our housekeeping staff, in this time, we've actually been able to get to know people more deeply and more intimately. And we've also, you know, we've been doing a lot more personal calls to people. And for Life Enrichment, we had our same group of really social residents that would come to all of our programs. And this time has been an opportunity to reach those residents beyond that, because we've been going to their buildings and doing different things for them in their homes. As far as we've been doing an ice cream cart, a good humor ice cream cart every week that we go around and hand out ice cream bars. We've been doing a happy hour as well, where we've been going to individual buildings and giving them happy hour drinks and snacks. So it's really been an opportunity to get to know people more intimately and spread that out across the community, instead of just being a small group of people.
That is really, really cool. What else should I be asking you about?
The other kind of fun initiative that we've put together, that's on the virtual side of this, is similar to what we're doing here today. We've come together with a task force of putting together our Village Stories podcast. And so what we're going to be doing is interviewing some of our residents and some of our employees, and learning stories of what makes our JTV community who we are today. So I think that's been a really fun initiative that we're working on, and a big project that will be really cool when it comes together.
That is great. One other thing I should have asked earlier, but I didn't, is what are you doing for those residents who are not so inclined to use technology?
So for the residents that aren't so inclined to use technology, we've been putting together weekly kind of brain books for them that have a variety of games and crossword puzzles that they can view. We have an in-house channel that shows in every room. And on those in-house channels, we've been playing different videos and fitness videos and cooking demonstrations and different things, so that we can keep them engaged as well, even though they might not be on a computer or tablet.
Great. And are you continuing to do move-ins through all this?
We've continued to do move-ins, and we're continuing to do sales. We were doing virtual meetings, and now this week we've been able to go back to live meetings, and they just follow our strict screening process in order to get into the community. And we've still been trucking along.
Cool. So, Jameson, thank you so much. This has been so cool. I think that I have watched as life enrichment directors, managers have become so creative. I think they've had to do more creative adaptation than any other segment of the industry. And they're really the heroes, and you're one of those people. And so thank you for doing that, and thank you for your team. I'm going to just tease sort of the listeners and the watchers here for a minute. We had a conversation before we started recording about what John Knox Village is doing in terms of how they do programming, and they've got an amazing story in terms of how much staff they do to make this all happen and work right. And I think it's a model that we ought to be looking at, but that's going to be a story for another time, but you should look forward to that. And thank you very much for this time. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Steve.